Hello, 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 and a Happy New Year to you. So, because I'm regularly on BookTube now, I wanted to make a favorites video. Now, I want to just mention that I haven't read the Percy Jackson and Olympian books, and I do really like the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices. Unfortunately, that series didn't make this list because I had to go through all the books that I absolutely love, and I chose the ones that I would reread right now. Without further ado, in no particular order, here are just my favorites over the years. First, I'm going to start off with The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Unfortunately, it is not with me at this time. My boyfriend currently has it, so I can't show it to you. Next we have the Vampire Academy series. The entire series. If I had to pick a favorite book in the series, Spiritbound. Spiritbound's my bae. This book literally tore me apart, and because of that, it is my favorite in the series. Along with that, we have the Bloodline series. My favorite in this series is Not With Me. It's The Fiery Heart. This is one of my favorites. It's a spin-off of the Vampire Academy series, and I absolutely adore it. Next we have A Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. I read this book in one day. It was so good, and it takes place over a time period of one day. So much growth happens with the main character, and I just can't believe it, and it really shows how much a day make a difference. Next we have a duology, If I Stay, Where She Went, both by Gail Forman. Gail Forman is my favorite author, and If I Stay is my #1 favorite book. I could reread this book over and over and over. Where She Went is so good too, but I think I love If I Stay just a bit more, and this duology really goes hand in hand, and I just love it so much. Next on my favorites, we have the Mara Dyer trilogy.
This one's from the UK. Don't ask.
I really love this trilogy, and I really loved it before the third one came out. And I knew that it was one of my favorites when I just loved the characters and was so attached to them before the third book was even published or anything was mentioned about it. And I just love this trilogy so much. I read the first 2 books about a year ago, and if I had to pick a favorite in the trilogy, it would be the first one, The Unbecoming. It's so innocent and shy, and you really don't know what's gonna happen with the rest of the trilogy, and really messes you up. Next we have another duology plus a novella, and that is Just One Day and Just One Year by Gail Forman. As I mentioned before, I love Gail Forman. She is my favorite author, and this duology plus the novella really just complements each other. She's really good at writing, and she's the one contemporary author that I will just buy without any question. I will love any book by her. Next on my favorites is the Divergent trilogy, and I read this before it was cool, but someone took my Divergent book, so I had to go out and buy the movie cover of Divergent, and I really need the hardback of Divergent. But if I had to pick a favorite in this series, it would have to be Insurgent. I read this 2-ish years ago now when it came out, and I just remember just loving it and not being able to put it down and having to buy the collector's edition and not the regular old hardback. And last on my list, but certainly not least, and probably really high up there on my favorites, we have the Darkest Minds trilogy. I've only read The Darkest Minds and Never Fade, and I have yet to read In the Afterlight, but I knew I had to include this series on my favorites because there's no way it wouldn't be on my favorites just with how the first two books have gone. I don't doubt that In the Afterlight will be any different, and I think it can only get better from where we left off. So that was all my favorites. In a year, I will update you on the favorites that I have to add to this list. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments below if I should read any of your favorites or if we have some of the same favorites. I've been Courtney, you've been lovely. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!